Hello neighbor, welcome to Short Meadow. It's cold outside today. I read the thermometer earlier and it is in the 30s and it feels like it's in the teens. So we're not going outside to play today, but that's okay. This is the last episode of 2025 and really today is a day to look back over the last 12 months and really think about and evaluate what has been going on this last year. If you don't already do that, it's important to do. It helps to really identify what's important to us, what's important to me, and then what I think is important to do going forward into 2026. So sit back and relax, get comfortable, and over the next 20 minutes or so, we're going to talk about the greatest challenges that I had this year, some of the top successes, also some of the joys that came out of the last year, and then finally the biggest takeaways. What am I taking away? What did I learn from this year? So let's get started. Really, there are two big challenges that I addressed this year. And if I'm to be totally honest, I don't know if they're challenges as much as frustrations. But I thought I'd talk a little bit about those two. The first one really are the aggressive vines that grow up in the garden and choke out the flowers and pull them down. Cocculus carolinus, also known as Carolina snail seed, was the big offender in 2025. This plant, once its seeds start spreading, just go everywhere. And as the summer gets hotter, those vines grow. So for the first part of the year, of spring and then well into summer, beautiful meadow, beautiful plants. And then the heat really started coming. And about mid-September, those snail seed, they just grew up and so fast and started choking out and pulling down the plants. By the end of September, I had made the decision that for a large part of our gardens, I just needed to go ahead and pull them down, everything, and hope that next year will be better. Well, not hope. No, what I did instead was I cleaned everything out and took what plants I could and saved those, cleaned out the garden beds, and then started with boxes and laid down cardboard all over the gardens, which will hopefully block the light, which will stop those snail seed plants from growing. That took a lot of time, but it's worth the effort. And I'm sure that for any of you who've been gardening for some time, you know what it's like to have a plant or plants that just sort of take over. And that was my Achilles heel this year. And so that really was a big frustration for my gardening. Now for the garden as a whole, the challenge, the frustration really has been working on a limited budget. I don't know about you, but we have other bills to pay. We have food to get. We have doctor's appointments. So the budget is limited. And what that has meant for me this year is that I've really had to be far more resourceful than ever before. Getting free stuff, whether it's seeds or materials that I need for building, getting as much free as possible, trying to get as many deals as possible. That's really important. So, for me, that meant going on all in on seeds. If plants cost $15 to $20 per plant, seeds cost $3.50 to $5 per seed packet, and sometimes you get 25, sometimes you get 100 seeds in one of these little packets, all of which can add up to huge numbers of plants over time. And the downside is, of course, that it does take seeds, particularly perennial wildflower seeds, time to develop. It may be 1, 2, 3, even up to 5 years before you actually see the flowering occur. So, one of the things that I did this year is, while I'm using those seeds, I'm also intermixing temporarily some annual wildflower seeds. That way, when spring of 2026 comes, while my perennials will be starting the growth, my annuals can be popping up, and there will be something visually appealing to see in the gardens this coming year. So a limited budget has truly been a frustration for me, and I guess I'll talk about that a little bit more later on. When it comes to top successes of the year, there's really 3. The first one is the creation of what I call the 3 great circles. You know, nature, I think, abhors hard right angles, straight lines. There's always curves, and I decided this year that I wanted to include more circles in the garden. And that idea came about because a few years ago we unearthed really, a cistern in our backyard. Now, a cistern, for those of you who don't know, is not a septic tank. It is a water collection unit, not like a well where the water flows in from the ground, but it collects water off the roof, and then that water can be used for washing clothes, flushing toilets, cleaning dishes, even watering plants. Now, our cistern was created back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and it is huge. The entrance to it is 6 foot wide, and it expands out to 9 feet wide. And after I took all the dirt out of it, I discovered it was 13 feet deep. It's a huge hole in the ground. And sadly, most of the concrete that was used has eroded. So it's not ever going to be what it used to be. But that was where I saw the circle. And I thought, wow, what a great addition to our garden. That circle ultimately is going to become a fish pond, native fish, with a waterfall. And now I'm going to create, and I have created, 2 more great circles. The first one that I did was right in front of the education center. Now, during the summer, about 3 or 5 times a year, depending on weather, we invite friends over and have outdoor movies and show them on the center's wall. And it's huge fun. But lately, the wildflower meadow has been encroaching into the area where we sit. And people were having to brush plants off of them last year. So I decided that it was time to dig a little bit of area out to create space where people can really sit. And I decided that the best thing to do was to make it a circle. And so we created this huge circle where our friends can sit and enjoy the movies, and they can be encircled by wildflowers, but not attacked by them. And so that took a little bit of time, but it's completed. And then the major project, which did cost some money, because we had to bring in dirt, but I had a sitting area out back with wicker furniture that I really liked. But it was on a hill, and so you were either sitting back like this or you were leaning up like this, depending on which way the chair was angled. So I began with rock and dirt and really leveled out a circular area, circular patio, where we can have people sit down and relax and have conversations. All of that took, I think, from May, June, maybe a little bit into early July to get that finished. But boy, it looks nice now, and we're real happy with it. So that's the first, the creation of the 3 great circles. Second was the development of the woodland area. Now, a few years back, when we were taking the dirt out of the cistern, I realized that I really wanted to have different environments, different ecosystems within the garden. And one of them that I wanted to have was a woodland area. And so we put dirt back there, and then this year we really built that out. We put in a nice path that winds around the back quarter of the yard, so that you'll be able to wander through the woodlands. We put down a drainage ditch that really looks like a little stream bed that people have to walk over a bridge to get into the woodland area. As you are entering into the woodland area, we have a cairn set up, which is memorial stones that are set up in a pile to help us remember a loved one. And that's just a nice, it's very meaningful for me to have that as part of the beginning walk through the woodlands. Another component that we worked on back in the woodland garden, we had a couple crepe myrtle trees in our front yard. They are non-native, in case you're wondering. They died. And so I cut down the giant branches, and I dug holes in the back, along the back fence, and put those branches into the ground. And I've planted vines around them, so that as you're walking in the back, rather than just looking at a fence, you'll see the fence, but you'll also see all these green vines growing up and filling the trees with their flowers. And it'll give us an opportunity not just to see the vines on the ground, but to really see them up in a place where we can take a look at them and get a good look. Then the last thing that we did, I didn't realize there was that much, but behind me here in this education center, we created a few years back a deck with a raised garden bed on top of it, and then put a swing underneath the bed. And I went back there to relax. But what I also had done even before that was right up against the back of this building. I had put a potting table in, and I put some shelving in. And I would go back and sit on that swing to relax. And I'd always be looking at that planting table and those shelves, and always thinking, oh, there's more that I could do. So this year, I pulled all that out from back there. I have plastic down right now. It's killing all the grasses and the weeds back there. Eventually, it's going to be a fernery. I've gotten several native ferns that I'm collecting, and I'm going to plant those in the spring. I'm also going to do a giant sculpture of a green man back there, a slumbering green man, just so that when I sit back in that swing, trying to relax, I have something that I can look at and enjoy, and that brings me happiness. Now, the planting or potting table and the shelving, I had to move somewhere else. So I decided to reclaim some of my front yard that's on the side of the house. So I knocked out the fence and moved the fence toward the front of the house a little bit more. And I put all that back there. And that's so much nicer because I can't see that. And so when I really want to be in the garden relaxing, I can be in the garden relaxing. When our friends come over, they don't have to see all the projects that I'm working on. And so that's been a real big help. And that whole project has really helped to enhance the garden. It's a huge step forward this past year. So, number 3, the final success. I mentioned that I pulled down and put cardboard across all of the meadow to really try to kill that out. Over the last year, I've been learning more and more about what they call the prairie matrix planting, which is a system for not just planting flowers, but planting grasses and sedges and some little shrubbery, so that there's year-round interest in the meadow, and it's not just the 8 months out of the year where you have something. It truly has interest the whole year round. So after in October and November, what I did was begin developing a matrix, laying out where I wanted to have my plants. And this time, in the past, it was primarily annual plants that I was planting in there, using seed, and always worrying about whether the seed would come up in the springtime. This year, what I did was I included seeds for perennial wildflowers, sedges and grasses, put all that in there in a nice mix so that it really will look diverse. And then I went back and I put in some annual seeds. And of course, the reason for doing that is it takes time for those perennials to grow, to get established and to bloom. So while I'm waiting a couple years for that to happen, I will have flowers in the spring and the summer that are annual wildflowers, but will give me some wonderful things to look at as the perennials develop. Huge challenge, really made me think about how I laid plants out. It's going to have a big effect on how I move forward with all of my planting, but what a huge success today. So, I guess I should have an honorable mention too. It wasn't until the middle of July this year that I realized, gosh, I really love doing this stuff more than anything else that I could possibly do. And so I made a decision to begin doing native plant and tree education, consulting, and garden coaching. I'm not going to go anywhere and make someone a garden, but if they're interested in creating their own garden, I'm there to consult and to coach, encourage them in that process. And so by the end of July, I had my YouTube channel up and running. And it has been a struggle. I was in the AV club in high school over 40 years ago. And we did videos with VHS tape and beta tapes. And now I'm getting into this, and of course it's all on computer. And it's been a lot of fun, but it has been a challenge. And so just being able to, on a regular basis, create videos and get them out there, that's a huge success for me. Now, while I'm talking about that, I do want to say I'm still learning. Every week I'm learning. And so for those of you who are more experienced, or for those of you who have watched me and have some suggestions on how I could improve this channel, please put those suggestions down in the comment box so that I can go ahead and learn from you and really make this a resource that helps a lot of people. Okay, so there's been tons of fun this year. Going back, the YouTube channel, it's been fun doing that stuff again. It's been fun learning it. Anytime I can get my hands in the dirt, that's fun. This year I've done a lot of building. 3 tables we've made and really enjoyed doing all 3 of those tables. Putting up the branches in the back to make it look like there are real trees there. But I think for me, the other thing that I've enjoyed besides the building is the crafting. Taking some of the stuff that had come out of our garden and putting it to good use. And that just happened recently, but I don't want to miss that next year. Creating the Christmas wreath, putting up the winter garland, all of that stuff has been great fun. And I am just looking forward to continuing all of that next year. Yeah. Now, big takeaways, the biggest takeaways. Okay. Number 1, we don't have to be rich to have a beautiful garden. We don't have to be rich to have a beautiful garden. What we do have to have, we have to be resourceful, and we have to be patient. You know, I went around and got a lot of free stuff this year. I got free trees from Root Nashville. I got free seeds from the Tennessee Department of Transportation. I got some free plants from Wild Ones in Middle Tennessee. I've got free boxes. I've gotten some free wood. That being resourceful is the way to move forward. Because like you, I don't have unlimited funds. And so it really is a challenge to get all these things going. And then not only that, but to be patient. Yes, planting seeds are less expensive, but it does take a little longer for them to grow into flowers. Just have to accept that. Taking that time, being willing to use that. My cistern, that's a multi-year project because I'm going to have to eventually get some bricks, concrete. I already have the waterfall, but I'll need to get the rocks for the waterfall. That is going to take a few years to do. And I'm just going to have to be patient, even though I don't want to be. You know, I think that all of us maybe start out thinking, I'm going to do it and it's done. And that is never the case. It doesn't get done in a year, doesn't get done in 2 years. In fact, I have learned now, after several years, that there's always something more that can be done. And so being patient is really important. Now, the second takeaway that I'll share with you is this. Dream big. Dream big about what you want your garden to be. It may be is you want to have the whole place with beautiful native trees, wonderful plants, all of that. You want to have sculpture, you want to have waterfalls, you want to have this, that, the other thing, benches. Dream big. Dream about what your garden could be. Whether it's a balcony garden or whether it's on a huge plot of land or on a small plot of land, dream big. But also be willing to take small steps. Small steps to making that dream happen. Well, I don't know if what happened, but the camera shut off, so I'm not sure if you've heard that last little bit. But again, just dream big and take those small steps towards the dream. And you will be amazed before you're halfway through the work how far you've come and how beautiful your garden is. Okay, next time I'm going to do a little bit of talking about what I hope to see accomplished in 2026. I am excited. In January and February, I'm going to be offering my first two classes or workshops. In January, on the 24th, we're offering a 1-hour introductory class into growing native plants and trees. And then in February, I'm going to be offering a class on designing your own garden. That's the dreaming big part. And we'll take, I think that's a 3.5-hour class. So I hope that you'll be able to join me. I hope that you'll be able to celebrate and enjoy the new year. I look forward to working with you to help you build, create a beautiful, magnificent garden. And I'll see you next time here at Short Meadow. Goodbye.